welcome to the EMS Underground. I am Charles McFall, the media specialist at Georgia Institute of EMS, and this is this week's EMS Underground. Welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2017. We're going to talk about, people like to make resolutions. They like to make choices, and I am still, having to manage the camera, the mic, and the Facebook, so I am working on getting the Facebook stuff taken care of right now. And I need to click for more. So yeah. All right. So now I can see your questions. I can see your likes, your shares, all that jazz. So hey, 2017. We've got a lot of great things coming up with the school here at Georgia Institute of EMS that we're going to talk about towards the end of this episode. But refresher courses stuff's coming up. We're going to talk about continuing education. But, a lot of people go into a new year, and you might notice I don't have my red uniform shirt on. It's because I rushed down here to the studio and forgot to put it on, and that is that. Speaking of always moving forward, continuing education, right? Life choices, doing things to push ourselves forward. Tom is at a special class today, and I don't know if he wants me to talk about what kind of class it is, but he is at a special class today, and doing that, educating himself, moving forward, bringing new opportunities for everybody who wants to get into the field of EMS or continue on with their career. So yeah, make sure you give those likes, those happy faces, those questions, and we'll take any question you have today is good. I can answer some stuff about classes coming up. I can guide you to where you can find more information, those kind of things. I have never been one for resolutions. To me, we wouldn't know it's a new year if we didn't have some random calendar invented by the Romans, I believe it was. I think, wasn't it Julius Caesar who came up with the calendar as we know it? I don't remember. But basically, the calendar's kind of arbitrary, right? You look at all the post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows that are out there, and without power, without a day-to-day reason to go do things, without needing to remember it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or sometimes without even having the ability to. I mean, if it's right at the zombie apocalypse or whatever, then you're all scrambling trying to survive. You lose track of time. So I've never been one to really focus on new year, new me, any of that stuff. So I'm distracting myself. I have to put up a solid picture because I can see myself on delay over on the other side where I monitor Facebook. I can see my feed camera, and then I have something special set up for later. So I've got like a ton of cameras doing all the hand motions and stuff, and it's distracting me. So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about the new year, the new you, making choices. Resolutions have been proven scientifically to just fail, right? Because we don't have a good reason to. It's a new year. What's your resolution? And it's just a Facebook-like. That's all it is. It's a meme. It's viral life is what it is, right? Before we had viral videos and everything else, we had the, oh, really? I didn't turn off my ringer. Before we had viral videos and internet, we had chain mail, right? You get a letter in the mail that says, mail this to 10 other people and whatever, and you'll get luck. And it's crap. But here's the thing. We never think about we have a viral life sometimes. Why do you make resolutions? Well, I don't know. My friend said something about resolutions. I don't know. My parents always made resolutions. Somebody told me you make a resolution in the new year. Yeah. But you can change your life anytime. I mean, we get that. We're adults. We especially in the EMS field, we see how short life is, and sometimes we get a blatant reminder right in our face, and it reminds us to go home and love our family and hang out with our friends and enjoy the moments of the good times as we can. So we understand that in this field of medicine. We understand that life is short and things happen. So why do we do resolutions at the new year? Well, for the most part, I have two reasons. For the most part, like I said, it's the viral life. It's people have told you to do that. And, I'm going to quit smoking. Well, not unless you really, truly want to for your own health and to benefit your own life. You have to not. Let me see. When making choices with your life, and I'm going to bring it into a new career and those kind of things and advancing your career as well within medicine. But if you choose to change your life, and people in medicine smoke a lot. We smoke a lot. Now, I never, ever personally was a big cigarette smoker. I have smoked cigarettes. I chose cigars, which somewhat healthier, but not a ton. I mean, nicotine is nicotine and whatever. Now, the difference between, to me, and please call me out, tell me different, tell me something new. But to me, the difference between cigars and cigarettes is the filter. And the filters, right, have all the bad juju in them. That's in cigarettes. So that's what I've been told. I don't know. Anyway, my whole point is, if you go, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to quit smoking. Well, unless you truly want to move towards something, right? I want to move towards a healthier life. I want to move towards more money in my pocket because it gets expensive buying cigarettes. I want to move towards something better. It doesn't matter what you resolve. You're going to struggle to quit. You're going to spend a lot of money on the patches and maybe get a hook up with some medicine or buy the gum or take some this program, that program. And you're going to fight yourself. And you're going to be frustrated and it's not going to work. So the other reason I think, and that's because it's a viral. It's just a random thought. If you don't change in here what you desire, you can't change. It doesn't matter what your mind wants. Now, here's the other thing about smoking that a lot of people ignore is it does change your brain chemistry. So I've never personally, as a paramedic or otherwise, I've never encouraged anybody to quit smoking. It is your decision. It's your life. You are an adult. You understand what's going into your body. You should understand that at least. It's your choice. I eat fried chicken sometimes. I understand the carcinogens and the fat and the oil and everything that's in that. And I'm a big guy. I mean, who am I to be as big as I am eating my fried chicken or my banana pudding, or my Mountain Dew, which is, there ain't nothing healthy about Mountain Dew. Who am I to be doing these things and say, you should quit smoking? It changes your body chemistry. It changes everything. So be careful. Be careful with that. But the second reason I think we make resolutions is because in our mind, we see a change. Even though it's arbitrary, the calendar, we rush up to the end of the year with the holidays. We've got Christmas stuff going on, and then the New Year's Eve parties, and then it's this really big crescendo of the year. It's just really, life is loud noise, and it just comes to a head, and Happy New Year. And then if you really pay attention, you notice, man, New Year's Day, it comes right back down to a nice, quiet, that was really busy from Thanksgiving to New Year's. And we feel different, right? Because it was this loud climax ending to the year. Even if you don't do the parties, it's just, even if you get that a little earlier, you hit Christmas and you do all the stuff you do for Christmas and maybe you have some time off. In EMS, we don't have time off, right? We have our 1 day on, 2 days off. And, I know there's some other shift types out there, but that is the heart of EMS. So, you get your downtime. There's a change. And so I think we mentally see the new year as a fresh new start, right? A way to possibly a whole new beginning. We don't know what's coming. It's brand new. We just hit it. Has that new car smell on it. So I think it's okay if you want to use that energy, that impetus, right, to change your path, to do what you want to do. If you want to quit smoking, that's fine. That's just a big one that comes up. You want to lose weight, to get healthier, that's fine. I personally, my heaviest was 380 pounds. And I was at the library in Conyers, and my daughter was in a stroller. I can't remember if it was my daughter or my son. It might have been my youngest son. Was in a stroller at the time. And they weren't happy inside the library. The older two kids were doing their thing. I said, it's nice weather. I'll take them outside, walk around the parking lot with them. And I walked across the parking lot to a bench. And by the time I got there, I was out of breath and tired and wanted to sit down. And I went, this is ridiculous. I'm in my mid-30s, and I can't walk across a parking lot without getting winded. That was horrible. So I decided I wanted to improve my life. And I started to lose weight. I used a program called MyFitnessPal, just tracked what I ate, changed my eating habits, became aware of my eating habits. And I got down to 310 pounds, I think. No exercise, no extra effort, just checking my food. Since then, I plateaued and I got discouraged. Other things happened. Stress happened. Lots of stress happened. I think I'm back at like 345 now. But and there's some pictures you can see. I mean, in my face, I've got the weight here, but you can see it worked. My point is, you have to move to something better. You have to. The change in your life has to be positive. Otherwise, it won't stick. Otherwise, you fight yourself. You fight that uphill battle. And how does that apply to EMS? Well, I think we all see it, especially at the holidays. It gets so stressful with family. Ambulance calls pick up. I know, man. Christmas Eve was transport hell for private ambulance services. I worked for National EMS for a very long time. And I remember Christmas Eve would be the day you're going to the hospital and taking people home, because used to be two reasons, and I think it's changed, but there's no need to go into my reasonings there. But one of the reasons is the hospital wants to tool down its staff, right? Turn down its hours so that people can be home with their family. And to some people's heart, they want want that person to be able to be home with their family. So there is that double push of, we want everybody to go out and have family time, including patients if they can go home. And so you're constantly, on that day, we were going to the hospitals and taking people home. And I knew some of these people, I felt like they were just being pushed out into the street because the hospital just decided, whatever, or the family maybe pushed and pushed and pushed. We just want them home for Christmas. Well, certain people don't need to go home for Christmas. They need to have that health care, but that's neither here nor there. But I know it's busy. I know the calls go up. There's more car accidents because there's more people on the street. People aren't paying near enough attention. There's more stress. There's more heart attacks. It seems like, I have no statistical data, just going on my own impression, it seems like there's more heart attacks during that time. So we come to the new year and it's just kind of fresh and it's clean. And we can breathe, and the call volume goes down again and kind of gets back to normal, and things start to pick up. You look forward to, we're going to talk about continuing education, but you look forward to, okay, I got my recertifications coming up. I have to renew my numbers I think it's in the spring in Georgia. The numbers get renewed. There used to be, at least. And I've gotten stuffy all of a sudden. I've been good all day, and I came down to the cold basement and turned on the heater, and now it's like, So what can you do? You take the time when you can to be happy. You make sure you have your peaceful moments. That is why I believe a lot of medics and EMTs smoke, is because it will de-stress you, right? The nicotine helps hit some buttons in your brain, and the chemicals, and de-stress you. It is an appetite suppressant. So hopefully, you're not overeating. You're just chilling out. But I think the other thing too is, in all of the services I worked at, there was a smoking table, right? There's a designated area to go out and smoke. And you would just gravitate there to hang out, especially in good weather. You would just go there and hang out because that's where people were. Because you always worked with, I would have to say, I always worked with about 50% smokers on my crews. And that's where you would just sit and you would hang out and you would talk and you would de-stress. And you'd find the quiet moments and the happy moments and the things, and remind yourself why you do what you do. So I think that's part of why people smoke is to get away for a minute, right? To step outside, to not only get the chemical de-stress, but to get that quiet moment. But that's temporary, right? So once you figure out what you want to do with life, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do going forward? And as you have questions, hit me up. Type them right here in the comments section. I hit those likes and shares and all that jazz. But when you decide to change your life and you want to do something new, this is that time of year that people are doing that a lot. So I want to talk about that some, about the changing of your career. Now, I left the EMS field actually in the winter time. In the fall. It was November-ish, October, November, when I left to make a change financially for my family and for my life. And I just had to do something different. Mostly I had to let go of what I was holding on to and take care of my family. But lots of people make those choices now. You're burned out over the holidays or whatever. And I would encourage everybody to, before you make major life decisions, such as leaving your career, starting a new one, advancing in your career, getting more education, to really think it over, see what the benefits are really going to be, and talk with your loved ones, talk with your family, your coworkers, the people who you trust and you're close to, and get their take on it. Because not all advancement is good. Not all education is worthwhile. And definitely changing careers, just in any major decision, in any change, you can foresee some of what happens, but you can never foresee everything that's going to come. But let's talk about the good sense of that. So now is the time. Let's say you've always looked at medicine. You've always been interested in what goes on in the ERs and with nurses and hospitals, and you really want to see what it's like to be on the ambulance. Well, there are classes that start up, and we're going to talk about some of those for sure, but there are classes that start up, mid-January and on into the spring. Now might be a good time for you to jump in and get a class. You start at the bottom of anywhere. So you start with EMT or advanced EMT, I guess, is either one of those. I'm not sure what you have to have advanced EMT. Now, I think you have to have EMT and then so on and so forth. But always go into those decisions with your eyes open, knowing that it's a positive change, right? Knowing that you want to go and get more, or go and get education and get into a new field. You never have to worry about what you're going to do after the education. That will come. That can change a million times over. You might get the education and decide you're going to work in a hospital doing something that uses that skill. You might go to a doctor's office. You might never use it. You might end up at a school system being, helping there. You might work on a movie set, doing the movie medic stuff. You never know. So focus on now. What is it going to take when you start school? Obviously, it's going to take money. So make sure you have that lined up and ready to go. It's an investment in your future, and it will come back to you. It's going to take support from your family, because it will take time and energy, and it'll stress you out, and it'll take focus. So make sure you have a support system, friends who can help you out, family members who can help support you, people who can kind of keep you accountable to make sure, hey, let's help you make sure you get your homework done or get your classwork done, those kind of things. And make sure that you have a job that will support your lifestyle. Now, I know with Georgia Institute of EMS, we offer online classes, and there's limited in-house where you have to be here on these certain days and times. So that is a bonus. I know with National EMS, their school was like standard EMS Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I believe, but it's all in-house, right? It's at night because most people have a day job. So it's held at night, and it was a commitment. That's how I didn't go to National for school. I ended up working for National for many years. At the time, I was in Athens, Georgia, and Athens Tech offered an EMT class. And I went, I think it was Tuesday, Thursday for EMT. So I knew 2 nights a week I had to go to class, or maybe it was Monday. One of them was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. One of them was Tuesday, Thursday. Paramedic was one and EMT was other. And Patrick Carey, man, I haven't talked to in forever, man. He's right. You'll basically have no life while you're in training. And that's true at any level you're at. So let me tell you my experience going to EMT school. I had come back from college. I'd done a year at college, had decided that school was not for me, and that lifestyle personally was not for me. Was looking at UGA, not sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I'd been exposed to the field of emergency medicine by working with the campus police of the school that I had gone to. So I talked to somebody who worked on the ambulance, like, yeah, they were a college student as well. And they're like, yeah, it's a great side job. It's flexible. It lets me pick up some hours because I'm part-time, or PRN, really. They weren't part-time, but I didn't understand what PRN meant then. And, it was good. And the training was fairly quick, depending on where you went. This was in South Carolina when I was exposed to that. So I came home to Georgia and said, you know what? That seems like something I could do. It seemed kind of exciting. And I looked into it, and sure enough, the classes were, I think it was 9 months at that time for my EMT class. It was not an official class through Athens Regional, or Athens Tech, rather. It was continuing education for adults, is what it was considered. Hope had just really launched, and so it had been out for a few years. So I was able to walk in, and because I was getting a profession that gave back to the community, Hope paid for it just like that. So that was cool. But I was working at Chick-fil-A full time to pay my bills. And they said they'd work with me on the night class. I worked days, basically. And so there were days, and it drove my class nuts. There were days I worked right up to class time cooking chicken at Chick-fil-A, right? So I smell like fried chicken. And class starts at freaking dinner time, man. It was like 6 to 9. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or no, I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday, Thursdays. 6 to 9, Tuesday, Thursdays. So it drove people crazy. I'd come in at dinner time smelling like fried chicken and fry oil, and everybody'd be starving. And yeah, it was a thing. So I ended up giving them free food and this stuff just to make up for it. And I remember going in, I was a great student. I always loved being a student. So I would go in and I would have my homework done. I'd be excited about the night. We knew we had roughly four regular instructors, and they'd cycle through. Glenn Henry and Lisa Henry taught that class as the head instructors. Then Curtis Arthur was part of it. There was I can see his face. Larry something. I can't remember Larry's last name. Was the other main instructor. And when Glenn came, you were going to be in class all 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was. And you knew you were going to have a quiz. You knew it was going to be class. When Curtis came, it depended on if the Braves were playing and what was going on. But he was pretty relaxed and fun. Larry didn't want to really be there. So he'd come in, we'd get it done, knocked out. He said, all right, everybody get out. And Lisa was kind of in between all of those. So we'd come in, and depending on the instructor, you knew kind of what kind of night you were going to have. And I really did enjoy learning it. I loved the hands-on stuff. I could get it. I loved the book stuff. I could get it. And it was just that. But for me, my class experience should be your class experience. It's what you put into it. I can't tell you one teacher was better or worse than the other. They had different styles, but I can't say, well, this person just was horrible and they couldn't teach, and this person was great. It wasn't like that. It was I'd come in and, okay, I know I'm going to be here all night because Glenn's here and he wants this done and he's going to have a test at the end of the night. Okay, that's his style. I knew if I went in and Curtis was there, we would get some things done and we'd go home. Now, here's the other thing about the class at the time. It really was a 6-month course, but Athens Regional wanted that extra 3 months of pay from Hope Scholarship. So there was a point in time where, even though it was planned out right, we kind of had some light nights as well. And this ran from spring to fall is the way this one ran. So, but the whole idea was I went in and I put into it. And there were students who basically wanted to be taught. Wanted to, I don't understand. And there's, man, it doesn't matter what kind of class you're in. Patrick, I know you get this. There's always one or two in the class. But I don't understand. Or they want to argue the question. Because, you take a test, right? You go back over it as a class. And what'd you miss? And do you have a question about it? Do you truly have a question like you don't understand? And we'll try to work it out. And there's always that one person who just can't get it. They just don't belong in that class. They'll never pass. But they want to get it. But they're like, I don't understand. And then there's that person who always wants to argue every question. It's like, you're not going to change your grade. You passed or you failed. That's the bottom line. And I'm with you, Brent. I love the hands-on. Man, the hands-on was the best part of the class. Oh, acid-base balance was the worst, right? Acid-base balance and cell physiology. Oh, my God. The stuff that you really won't use that much as a medic in the field. We spent a month on it, and it killed me. I don't remember. I probably actually, if you pushed me, I could remember more. But yeah, so there's always that person in the class. And there's the super smart people who get the book work, but they have struggles with the hands-on. There's the people who get the hands-on, but they're struggling with the book work. I was always that middle person. Because I have that why not mentality. Sure, I can do anything mentality. I was an egotistical person even before I became a paramedic. So I would help others as I could. But yeah, the hands-on, man, it's just, it's so simple. It's so simple. A, B, C. Do this, do that. You know, and yeah, as you learn it, you're stacking more and more. So you're filing. Now you're filing branches, right? If I do this and find this, yes, no, okay, go over here, do this, do that. But yeah, I mean, my practicals, I aced my practicals every single time, except for the simple things. I remember one time specifically. I apologize for the nose stuff. I'm stuffy right now. And that's yeah, I talked about that earlier. So, but I remember there was one time I was testing. I think it's the final test, and we were doing national registry. It was the first time Georgia accepted national registry. This is 1996. Was it? No, you know what? I went from fall to spring. So yeah, 96. I was graduating in 97 is when I got my EMT numbers. Yes. So it was 1996, 97 year that we did the class. And I'm getting myself off. It doesn't matter, but there's national registry involved. National registry was involved as early on. And we're the hands-on for national registry. I still aced it. And there's one thing, it was in the shock station. And Curtis Arthur was such a great teacher and such a great station master because I was missing blanket. I was missing warming the patient to treat shock. I got everything else. Raised the feet, did this, did that. And I think he just said, did that. And then, I'm going to put a blanket on him. And so I wasn't like super student or anything, but I found school easy because I went in desiring to make a positive change in my life. I wanted to get this job and go into this field. And I think you get the most out of school when you do that. I'm reading what Brent says. That's fair. So you have to be Patrick says you have to be somewhat egotistical in EMS, especially when working in public safety. I think, and honestly, to be successful in life, you have to be egotistical. You have to be confident in your skills. You have to know who you are. You have to understand that you are in charge of everything in your life. You make the calls. I do a show called Rock God of Podcasting. I know Patrick used to listen to a show a long time ago called did Bear Crawling. And it's a little of that rowdy humor, a little of that speech with more of insight into our lives and why we do things with stories like I'm telling now. So anyway, I say that once you understand that you are the rock star of your life, that you will be more successful in life than anything else you do. So yeah, I mean, you have to be there's bad ego and there's good ego. And to get through school, I mean, you hear me telling the story. I'm talking about how great student I was. You have to know you can do what you can do. If you go in going, I don't know, and I'm not sure, and I can't, you will fail. Or you will struggle, and everything will be an uphill battle. But if you go in going, I'm going to knock this out. I can be an EMT. I can learn it because you're going to teach it. And if you go to Georgia Institute of EMS, you have to be even a stronger student, in my opinion. You have to be able to teach yourself because we offer those online classes. We offer the online books and stuff versus going to class every other night and being surrounded by other people and having a teacher feed you the information. You have to go through the lectures yourself and do the videos. And that is harder than going to a class. But if you know you can do it, it's easy. It's easy. So you're going to do that. You're going to look at going to EMS school, advanced EMT, those kind of things. Then maybe you're an EMT now or an advanced EMT, and you've been on the truck and you want to raise, right? Because there's a gap between paramedic and EMT as far as pay goes. And if you're an EMT for long enough in one place, you will make more than paramedics. You should. I mean, history, time, loyalty, those things should matter in the pay you get. I'm going to go on a side note, Patrick, because, let's see, Patrick says, you'll want to be an EMT. Here's some great, yeah. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing this video. Absolutely. And that's what these videos, EMS Underground, that's what all this is about. And yes, I'm attached to Georgia Institute of EMS with Tom Camplain, but I try to talk about the experience and we share the information, Tom and I. So if you decide to go to another school, that's your decision. We hope you come to us. We hope that we're giving you the best information and the best experience possible. But the whole idea is there's stuff that is not taught in the books. That's what these videos are about, giving you the straight real advice of the experiences that we had. And today I'm by myself, but Tom's usually with me. So, but yeah, you're an EMT, whatever level, and you want to raise, or maybe you want to get ahead in the business, because there's a structure, right? You can't be a captain or a lieutenant or a supervisor unless you're a paramedic, so on and so forth. Maybe you want the power, the responsibility. I got to tell you, I felt fairly powerless as a paramedic, but I had a lot of responsibility as a medic. And there's a huge difference in those two things. I remember, though, I spent about a year, and that's what I advise anybody. Spend time in the field on the level you are at working before you decide to move up or to change jobs or to try a different area. Learn what you're doing first. Get really, really good at it. Get comfortable in it before you decide to move up. Because there are definitely people who will go EMT, advanced EMT, paramedic, without ever working a step in the field. And ride-alongs are not the same. I mean, Patrick will back me up on that. Ride-alongs are a whole, they're a taste of the world, absolutely. But there's a whole different beast in a ride-along where you have zero responsibility, none whatsoever, to having some responsibility as an EMT and being a part of a partnership, and then having most of the responsibility as a paramedic, even being part of a partnership. Major differences. So I spent about a year in the field as an EMT, and I started with Athens Regional, and that didn't work out. Ended up with National EMS in Morgan County, and that's where I spent most of my time. Worked with Angie McCann, who taught me a lot of things. Worked with Chuck Savage, who really took me under his wing, helped me get through a lot of my young naivete and baggage. I hadn't learned a lot about the real world at that point, and he helped me get through a lot of that stuff. And I decided, watching him and seeing how he was as a paramedic, and I've always been that go-getter. I've always been the guy who wants to I'm a leader. I'm a natural-born leader, and when I feel a ceiling, when I feel that cap, I want to figure out what I can do to get above that cap, to become that leader, to become the person who helps others and moves forward. So that was paramedic. So once I spent enough time as an EMT, I started paramedic school. Now, paramedic school, again, was at Athens Tech. This time, it was not yet a full-on course, because I think since then, if I remember correctly, they have like a 2-year accredited course or whatever now, or something like that. But it was still a external program with them. I think I got hope again with that. And it was a 6-month class, and I was like, oh, thank Jesus, because I was working full time. I was dating the woman who would become my wife, and work and her, that was life. And now I wanted to go to school, become a paramedic, to make more money. Because honestly, you're talking about the mid-90s, right? Mid to late 90s. So from 98, I think, is when I started with National EMS. So 97, 98, somewhere in there. Because I first went to Athens Regional, and that, like I said, that didn't work out. So I think in the spring of 98 or whatever, I went to National. And so I'd been working for a while, and I'm going to go to paramedic school. Well, in the late 90s, I was making $550, $575 an hour as an EMT, and that's just chump change. Athens Regional paid me National paid me minimum wage. I think it's $555 an hour, but they gave me the room to grow, the training I needed. I don't mean book training. I don't mean classroom training. I meant the stuff I'm trying to do here for free for you on EMS Underground, which is the real world. Hey, we're going to show you why what you did was wrong. We're going to help break some stereotypes in your brain. We're going to give you room to make mistakes and grow. And that's what they gave me. And so I decided I needed more money and I wanted more responsibility. They backed me up. They helped me go to paramedic school by making sure that I was supported, because I'm pretty sure that was the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So there are times I'd be on shift and somebody had to come relieve me so I could go to class for the 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, then come back to shift. And it's an ordeal. for 6 months to have to handle that for anybody. I mean, not just for myself, but for the people relieving me. Huey Atkins himself relieved me a few times to make sure I could go and get my education. And I'm eternally grateful for that. So my experience with paramedic was wholly different than EMT, right? EMT, I'm a student. That was my job. I worked at Chick-fil-A full time, but that was easy. There was no conflict of interest there. There was no stretch. It was just go to work, go to class, do your homework, party, done. That's what I did. So for most college students, you're going to class most of the day, doing your homework. Maybe you have a job, maybe you don't. Instead of going to class all day, I just went to work all day, did a little bit of class, some homework, and I did pass my national registry first time, by the way. And that's another piece of advice that you may or may not get in class. It doesn't matter what your scores are in class. You either pass or you fail. When you get hired, when people interview you, do you have your numbers? Yes. Done. Did you get 71 on the registry and pass? Yep. Then you got your numbers. Did you get 91 on your registry and pass? Yep. Then you got your numbers. They don't care if you pass at 100 or you barely pass. Passing's passing. Get your numbers. So now I went from this easy-ish life of going to class and work and all that to now I am working this odd schedule, right? Every other day, 1 day on, 2 days off, working that schedule. Not making a ton of money, but making it work. I was still essentially living at home at the time. And so, with my parents, I was living with them. So it still was a helpful thing as opposed to being an adult, being married. There's definitely different stress levels at different points in life and when you go. So I'm dating a woman and trying to see her only on the weekends because she's working Monday through Friday and I'm working 1 day on, 2 days off. And then trying to go to class. And it got stressful. It got tough. So but here's the thing. Going to paramedic school while I'm on a truck was so much easier than doing EMT school as far as learning. Because now I have something to base it on. Now I have real world experience of what medicine is like firsthand and secondhand by watching my partner do the paramedic stuff. My partner during that time was Chuck Savage. Great teacher. I would come back from class. What'd you learn? He'd drill me on some of it. He would help me with some tricks of the trade of oh yeah, as you develop this skill, this trick, here's what you'll get to. Hands-on, whenever we'd have, obviously not a full-on cardiac arrest where you don't want to take time to teach, you just got to do your thing. But whenever we'd have the opportunity to hook up the monitor, and I had gotten to that part of class, the cardiology part of class, what do you do? Tell me the steps. What are you seeing on the screen? He was always there helping me with real-life examples going through paramedic school. So I felt like I had an advantage, even though there's a disadvantage when I'm working because I lose that money, right, going to class because somebody else gets paid. So I had to use vacation time or whatever to make it up. And I'm having to drive from Morgan County back up to Athens, which is 30, 45 minutes, 3-4 hours of class and drive it back to be on the truck for the rest of the night. It's a little stressful. But the class went so much better. Steve Moyer was the teacher in that one. At the time, he was, I think, one, if not the lead instructor at Gwinnett Fire. He was one of the lead instructors at Gwinnett Fire. So he was always teaching. He was such a fun guy, such a great teacher. And his thing, too, was you pass or you fail. And his thing, too, was you're an adult. You show up to class, you don't show up to class. I don't care. I'm not taking attendance. You pass the test, you pass the test. It's your responsibility. Teaching us all, we had the responsibility because when you get in the field, you have that responsibility. Show up for work, do your job, remember what you've learned, take care of the patient. So if you decide to do paramedic school, have your reasons solid. You want to be a leader. That's good enough reason. You want more money. That's a good enough reason. But understand what comes with it as well. The paramedic responsibility is not just for the patient. It's not just the advanced medicine. It's to look out for your partner, to help guide your EMT, who in theory, and I'm being very, very plain about that, theory knows less than you. Because reality is, especially the longer they've been on a truck, the more they will know, the more they will understand. Never assume that your EMT is dumber than you or less educated or just isn't as good as you. The reality is, especially if they've been with that company for a while and you're new to that company, there's areas they're going to know a lot more than you, and they can help you out. And you can rise and fall, whatever. You can be great or be crap based on your partner as well. So, and double medic doesn't make it magic. Double medic sometimes makes it worse because you both have a differing opinions on what's going on. You both think you know exactly what you're doing. Be prepared. Just be open. And the last piece of advice on this, I want to talk about some continuing education. I want to talk about moving on into different fields as well. Before I get out of here, is know your reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And then the last piece of advice is I've used this every time I've gone into a new station to work, a new job to work, is for a set period of time. And it can be different. But for me, it was 3 months. I basically just shut up and watched. I shut up and I looked around. I was a paramedic. I had been a captain. The last place I really used this was in Jasper County. And I'd been a captain in places. I'd been a paramedic for years at this point. I knew what the hell I was doing. But the other thing we'll talk about on another show is politics. It's not always about the medicine. It's definitely not always about how good a job you do. It's how you get along with people and how you work inside a system. And to learn that system, you have to shut up. And I remember my second day at Jasper County, I think I'd done my mandatory 8-hour ride along or whatever in one shift. And I started my shift the next day. And I come in and instantly they were asking me about the other people on the shift and what did they say about this. And I was like, nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. And I just kept my mouth shut. And I didn't ask, tell me about this person, that person. I just did my job and kept my mouth shut for a good 3 months until I learned the lay of the land. Oh, this person doesn't get along with that person. Oh, here they prefer you to do medicine this way. Oh, here's how we requisition our drugs in this manner versus in that manner. Oh, here's the unspoken stuff that's not in the SOPs that they really want you to do. That's how you learn it. So that's my piece of advice going into any school, any job, is just shut up and listen, use your brain, figure out what's going on. And be careful because you can get on the wrong side of history very quickly by running your mouth and assuming you can trust the people that you're looking at. And that's not always true. Now, to the last change, that is somewhat getting out of the field, right? So you can get education. I think there's a higher level of paramedic that's more of a degree type deal. They'll let you do more medicine in hospitals or things. I can't remember. It's fuzzy, but it seems like there was. Of course, you can bridge to nurse in some places. Do that. I know one guy, Grant. What was Grant's last name? Can't think of his last name right now, but he went on to be a PA. Well, so while he was a paramedic, he was going to PA school, physician's assistant. That's Dr. Light is what that is. And the stuff he learned. And then, for some reason, though, when he graduated, I guess it's a standard issue. He got a porn stash. I don't know what the hell that was about. But, but I see Patrick Carey here, and he reminds me. Carey was a great paramedic. I don't even know if he's a paramedic anymore. I'm not a paramedic anymore, technically speaking, because I don't have my numbers. But Patrick Carey worked with me in Jasper County and was very helpful. He's a really cool guy. And he ended up wanting to be a police officer. And so he transitioned. He got a job. I think he got hired and he went to the police academy and what is that called? Post certified. And then he had double opportunities to work. He could work on the I can't remember if it was the sheriff's or the police department, so forgive me if I slander you, sir. But he could work with the police department on his regular shift, and then he could pick up shifts with us on the ambulance as well. And that gave a great base of knowledge because police back you up a lot of times on the truck. And so knowing that he would show up as a police officer but still have the knowledge to help us out was always strong. But I found it very interesting. BK did the same thing. BK was an EMT and went to post and became a police officer. as well. And so you widen your opportunities because as an EMT, here's your path. I mean, it's fairly limited. As a paramedic, you have more paths. You can go to other jobs. You can get a second job. You can work in some hospitals, perhaps, maybe some doctor's offices. You have more opportunities. But when he added that layer of education, he could be a paramedic. He could be a police officer. He had this much larger earning potential and path of stress or de-stress. And he still has his numbers. Interesting. I let my numbers go. Tom has been trying to talk me into getting them again so I could teach medicine with the school. Because right now I am the media specialist. That's my official title with Georgia Institute EMS. And I hope to go to the orientations for the new classes and just kind of give a be ready, be responsible kind of speech. So, and of course, you can just leave the field. I mean, my path was I was a paramedic, and I was getting stressed out and burned out to a point and worked in a hospital for a year, and it changed it some. It changed it some, but not enough. And finally, I got hired to go work in an office reading heart rhythms, and that's no longer even around in this area. But it was then, and that was my path out, and ultimately I let go of my numbers. And now I just do media all the time, and I'm a rock star, and I love it. So when you are in these fields, you have to have that continuing education, right? You have to do the classes. That's one of the reasons I let my numbers go is because I had to pay for everything. That is a benefit of being with a service. You don't always just look at the paycheck. What are they going to pay me per hour? Paycheck is important. Paycheck is important. It is what will hit you every 2 weeks or so. It is what will keep your bills paid. It is what will keep you happy. But you do look at the other things that maybe you don't realize. CPR was never a big deal while I was a paramedic. Here's a class once a year. We ripped through it fast because we all did CPR for a living. See, EMTs and paramedics both. So it's very much here, take the test, done. All right, cool. Here, for the paramedics. Sometimes with CPR, we had to take the strip test, but mostly that was ACLS. ACLS, that turns out to be a $150 class or more. And that was painful when I found out that I had to pay for that myself. And you do it on duty. I said duty. You do it on shift when I was at National. So they might swap my truck out or something, but I'd go for the day. And because I needed my certification, and they'd pay me. National would pay me to be in class, and they would give me the certification. PALS was the same way. I don't know how much that is, but it was expensive. I think that's a $200 class. BTLS, PHTLS. I mean, there are all these certifications I got while I was with National EMS and Jasper and Newton that they fronted the cost of the instructor, of the class, of the materials. And so all I had to do was show up and learn. That was amazing. And when I worked in that office in Medicaid, the reason I got hired for this office, it was called PDS Heart. And we did heart rhythms. It was a Holter monitor. It's a little pocket monitor that the patient wore for 24 hours or 48 hours. And it would just record their heart, the rhythm for the entire time. And then the data would be sent to us, and we'd get screens of the heart strips, and we'd read it really quickly and cut pictures out for the doctor, secondary heart block or Brady or whatever, give them the min, the max, and make a report and send it to the doctor. And that's what we did. Well, I got hired because at the time, Medicare and Medicaid said in order for us to pay you PDS Heart, you have to have somebody with RN or paramedic behind their name. So they hired me as a paramedic. Well, after a year, 2 years of being there, the Medicare, Medicaid changed again and said, no, we don't require that anymore. Well, the company still loved my work. I was doing a great job, but they didn't have to pay for my certification anymore. And so they're like, hey, you don't have to have your numbers to stay here. Because I became certified cardiac technician while I was there, CCT. And they said, you have this certification. We don't need your paramedic. So if you want to keep your paramedic, it's on you. And once I found out what on me meant, that's a lot of time and money and burden I decided to let go of. And I've never looked back. It's been fun. It's actually funny that I moved into media after that, did social media, I do a number of podcasts. I do some videos like this. I've become quite prolific in new media. And that has brought me back around. Tom followed some of that career, and he brought me back around. He wanted to do this show for Georgia Institute of EMS. And there we are. So I'm back talking EMS again. And I love it. I love giving this kind of advice to people. But if you leave, understand that, there are burdens of obligation that you will carry yourself if you want to keep your numbers. Patrick, he says he's not working in the field anymore. That means he's having to do it himself. And that can be a lot of work. And that's that. So talking about continuing education, talking about all these certifications, if you need these on your own, if you need to get that going forward, if you want to get back into the field, because that's the thing. If I am to get my numbers back, and I don't know about that, but if I'm to get my numbers back, then I have to get a certain amount of hours of recertification, and then Tom would want me to teach, so he wants me to go on and get 16 hours for teaching it and whatever. And it's a thought. It's a thought that might happen, but in order to renew your numbers, in order to get back, you have to have a certain amount of hours of training. And that's where I get to talk about what we're going to be offering this year at Georgia Institute of EMS. I'm going to show you the website right here. Let me pull this over for you guys. All right. So as you can see here, I'm trying to fix this. The website is georgiaemt.com, georgiaemt.com. And yeah, you can go wherever you want to get these classes. You can pay, and you're going to pay different rates to different people. It's fairly standard, I think, throughout the thing. I thoroughly enjoy working with Georgia Institute of EMS. I love that I get to be me. I get to do whatever I want. No, look at my hair. I got funky hair. You can't see it. I got my earring in. It's very easy to work with Tom and his crew, and they're fun people, and I enjoy it. But what we have coming up is the advanced EMT class is starting on January 23rd. Your orientation there is from 6 to 10. I believe there's still time to get in. You'll see the numbers right here in the middle of your screen. It is in Covington. The number is 678-561-2368 or info@gaiems.com. So you can do that. The EMT, the basic orientation, is January 30th coming up. Paramedic Refresher Day. This is what I was leading into, is you have to have certain amount of training hours. You have to have different whatever's going on. And we're trying to get these videos. We're trying to get these videos certified so that this can count towards part of your recertification, because as part of your recertification is reading magazines or watching media related to your profession. So I'm trying to find out for this year what that takes. I think it's just hey, in this video, you're going to learn this, this, and this. And at the end, say, hey, here's a quick questionnaire of what you learned. And then now watching these videos where I get to have fun and talk to you and entertain you, and hopefully you're having fun with it and sharing it and liking it and hitting the happy face button. You also get credit towards your certification. But if you need the class, Paramedic Refresher Day is February 15th. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the EMT Advanced and EMTI Refresher Day is February 16th. We've got ACLS available on March 6th, PALS March 9th, the ACLS Research. So, okay, ACLS class obviously is your first one. The research is a little bit different. March 13th, PALS Research March 14th, and HCP BLS, which I think might be the new name for PHT BLS. I said it wrong. PHBTLS, pre-hospital basic life support and trauma. BT is basic trauma and life support. So ACP BLS is on March 15th. You can find more of this stuff at georgiaemt.com. And again, I'm going to leave that up for just a second. You see the address there, telephone number, and the information email. So ACLS provider class, here's some more information. March 6th and 7th. PALS providers, 9th and 10th. Then your research and all that is the 13th and 14th. So it's All American Heart. Now, I noticed that he didn't have CPR on here, and I'm not sure if we offer CPR at all. So I'm going to flip back into my main camera and flip back so I can see the responses here. So that's how that goes. And hopefully it's clearer than what's showing up on my screen because you can't really see crap on the playback video. But this will also save in high def, so if you need to play it back, you can. In life, it is important to always be learning. I am always trying to find out more about my profession, which is entertainment and podcasting. advances in social media, those kind of things. In medicine's always changing. I know National was always trying to be ahead of the game with different techniques that are approved, some cutting edge medicine, those kind of things. I know just in general, CPR, basic CPR changes every 5 to 10 years. They review it and say, oh, well, these are the results we got from the studies we've done, so we're changing it up to do it this way. So if you need those classes, they're coming up. And you know what? Just because I told Tom I'd really, talk about this, I'm going to hit it one more time. Just for your information again, if you want advanced EMT, that starts the 23rd of this month. Basic EMT starts January 30th. Paramedic refresher days, February 15th. The EMT refresher days are February 16th. ACLS provider is, it just says 6 here, but it's really 6th and 7th. PALS providers, March 9th and 10th. ACLS research, March 13th. PALS research, the 14th. And HCP BLS is 15th, March 15th. So, yeah, definitely check that out. I know the background's kind of like, I look at the background, it's like, oh, we're being stalked. Okay. And now I'm not transferring right. Now you're going to see the Facebook page on the Facebook page. All right. So that's going to be it for today. If you have any more questions, definitely hit us up here on this page, Georgia Institute of EMS. I'm inceptioning you right now with the Facebook and the Facebook page. But definitely, I like, my style is to take any question. I'll get started on the story. I'll do this. I'll get entertaining. I've had weeks where nobody's watched, and I'm glad. Thank you, Patrick, for watching today. I appreciate that. And Brent, for watching as well, and some others who didn't, give a question. But I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to tell you stories. Tom is as well. So if you've got a question about real world, what classes can we get? We'll talk about that. Mental, spiritual, physical with the EMS. How do you deal with the death of a child? We can talk about that. How do you deal with a grieving family? How do you deal with angry people? What can I expect when I go to a car wreck? We are here to teach you whatever you can know. I mean, the way I described this show, I truly believe that true education starts when you can pass a test and hit the streets. That's when your education really starts, is after you hit the streets. In most experiences, we're not prepared what is to come in our careers. Today is Thursday. I'm here to answer your questions, as you may have, about the practice of medicine and how do you get yourself sane and healthy while working in the field of EMS. And that's the hard part. Sane and healthy, emotionally and physically healthy. So please tune in every Thursday, 2:30 p.m. is when we do this show right here on Facebook Live. I'm Charles McFall. You can find more of my podcasts and my storytelling at charlesmcfall.com. Rock Out of Podcasting is all about being the rock star in your life. It's Kevin Smith storytelling meets some motivation. Right? You got that. I do Pokemon Go podcast. If you're into playing Pokemon Go, geekery there. Breaking the Panel is a comic book podcast where we talk about all the stuff on TV and in the books and how it relates to life. And it's just a great discussion show. We have tons of fun, safe for the family, fun to share with your friends. Rock Out Podcasting is slightly not safe for work, so be careful with that one. But yeah, you can find more of my work, charlesmcfall.com. And again, excuse me, before I tell you wrong, I always like to check this, GeorgiaEMT.com. Georgia, GeorgiaEMT.com is where you can find out more information about the classes we offer and the teaching that goes on there. And I plan on being at those orientations, if you're a student watching this, to touch base with everybody, to tell you what kind of education you can get help with on these videos and those kind of things. So thanks to everybody for being here today. And if you like this, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the happy button, and follow the page so you can be notified when the show is live. 2:30 Eastern, Thursday afternoon. I hope to see you next week. Get out there, be safe, and learn more.